It's so good to see you. I'm glad you're back in Cape Cod.
It's on Cape Cod, not in Cape Cod. So anyways...
Moby Dick is a classic American novel written by Herman Melville and published in 1851.
And for those of you who don't know,
Moby Dick is told from the point of view of Ishmael, a man who, bored with his life on land, finds himself on board a Nantucket-based whaling vessel. The ship is commanded by Captain Ahab, a man obsessed with hunting down and getting revenge on the whale that took his leg. The story has been adapted, referenced, and parodied many times.
So, how would you go about adapting such a classic story into an anime? Simple, just set it in space.
Legend of the Moby Dick was created and directed by Osamu Dezaki, a man with a rather impressive resume.
Including being the animation director on the 1969 classic holiday anime,
Frosty the Snowman by Rankin Bass Productions.
Well, damn, who would have thought? Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Legend of the Moby Dick is a 26-episode anime that aired on Japanese television from April 9th, 1997 to May 12th, 1999.
Which is pretty impressive for a 26-episode anime to take 109 weeks to air.
Although, from what I could find, it did stop airing between November 1997 and December 1998.
And though I can't confirm those exact dates, I can confirm that the show's broadcast was suspended after only 18 episodes. However, production did resume in April of 1999.
It was released in North America on DVD by ADV in 2005.
There is a twist that happens early on. It doesn't really affect the plot, and I will be mentioning it here, so consider this your spoiler warning.
So the show is told from the perspective of a young boy named Lucky Luck,
who's revealed to us to actually be a girl.
So Lucky travels to King Koron, an old rundown space station adrift in the Nantucket Nebula, in hopes of finding the famed whale hunter,
Captain Ahab Ishmael Ali.
So she can try and get him and his crew to help hunt the great white whale Moby Dick, to stop it from destroying her home planet of Moad.
In this version of Moby Dick, old abandoned spaceships are called whales, and those who go and salvage them are called whale hunters.
It turns out that Moby Dick was built by the Earth Federation to destroy planets, and Moad is going to be its first test.
Now the Earth Federation has ordered a compulsory emigration.
And those who refuse to leave Moad are hunted down, captured, and forced off.
So Lucky's older brother Shirow started a rebellion.
Ahab agrees to help, not because he believes in the cause, but to get revenge on Moby Dick, who in a previous encounter cost Ahab his left eye and left leg.
While on a hunt off of King Koron, Lucky, Ahab, and his crew find a coffin.
They intend to release the lost soul back into space, only to find out he's still alive and is in fact an android.
Androids are people who are punished for a crime.
The android's name is Stu. He has no memory of who he is or what he has done, so he joins Ahab's crew.
So the crew eventually sets out on their journey to Moad to hunt the great white whale Moby Dick.
Unfortunately, most of the show takes place on Moad.
Which in itself isn't a bad thing. The problem is, the show makes it seem like it's going to be as much about the journey as it is the time on Moad. But alas, that's not the case. It only takes them 3 episodes to get from King Koron to Moad.
My favorite episodes, Nice to Meet You Haunted Ship, and My Dear Cape Cod, are 2 of these 3 episodes. Despite the show being based on a book, only 3 of the characters are based on characters from the book.
4 if you count Moby Dick, which you should.
The others being Captain Ahab,
who's based on, well, Captain Ahab.
Lucky, the story's narrator, is based on Ishmael, the book's narrator. And then there is Barba, who is based on Queequeg.
Though in terms of personality, the characters aren't quite their book counterparts.
All the characters have distinct personalities.
Ahab is somewhat of a mystery.
He can be stubborn and selfish, and does not like to back down from a fight. Although he does have a sense of humor, and respects and loves his crew more than anything.
Ahab's crew is a colorful cast of characters.
They're a goofy bunch, and often used as the comic relief, though each one does contribute something to the team.
They're loyal to their captain, and are always standing close by him.
Though, sometimes too close.
And then there's Dew.
As I said, Dew has no memory of who he is, but he is more than willing to join Ahab and his crew, and he does have some connection to Moby Dick.
The villains are some of the best characters in the show. It's a shame we don't get to spend more time with them.
Marato is probably the most sympathetic character.
That's not to say he's redeemable.
Although they do give him a tragic past, many of his actions make him clearly a bad guy.
Then there's O'Hara, who is not so much to be sympathized with as she is to be pitied.
She is an awful person, and the show knows this. Everything she does is for her own personal gain.
So the English dub is fine. The actors do well enough, though Ahab's accent was a little odd to me at first because it was that stereotypical pirate accent. It did eventually grow on me.
Ahab sounds more gruff in English and more suave in Japanese.
Both work for Ahab, but I think I prefer the gruffness of the English a bit more. I feel it fits the character better.
It's more obvious that Lucky is a girl in Japanese than in English, as she does have more of a feminine voice.
There are some annoying voices, but I would blame that more on the writing than the acting.
The mechanical bird Lucy, the girl from Cape Cod, and the girl from Moad Mika are a few examples.
One of the biggest problems with the show is its pacing.
There are next to no filler episodes, and those episodes that you could call filler are used more for world building.
Though they don't really use what they established.
The problem is, most of the filler comes from within each episode. They spend a lot of time on pointless scenes that can go on for far too long and have little to no payoff.
If they cut most of it out, the show would be half as long. Honestly, it should have been a movie. I mean, they don't even fight Moby Dick until about halfway through the final episode.
There's a decent amount of humor, and for the most part, the jokes are really funny.
There are jokes that don't land, and others, like puns, that just don't translate well.
There are times when there's supposed to be a somber moment, or Ahab's trying to have a heart-to-heart with someone, only to have the mood ruined by a joke.
Yeah, the show's beautiful for the most part.
There's a level of detail in the backgrounds that make each frame a pleasure to look at.
So the animation itself is sadly lacking.
But there are many moments which skimp on the motion. This includes times when they just have voices playing over still frames, or times when they just repeat frames over and over.
The character designs are rather creative.
All of them have a unique look, save for some of the background characters.
The mechanical designs are pretty fun.
But are limited due to the fact that most of the ships are shaped like sea animals.
The music is one of the best parts of Legend of the Moby Dick. It's simply fantastic.
All the tracks have a feel that help the tone of the scene.
The ending song is nice and calming.
But it's the opening song that is truly a feast for the ears. It gives the feel of adventure and excitement that's about to unfold.
This show fascinates me, as it was incredibly hard to find information on.
Most of what I could confirm comes from these interview cards that came with the DVDs,
making it feel like a truly forgotten anime.
I enjoyed Legend of the Moby Dick. I found it rather charming.
So do I recommend it? Well, ultimately no. That's not to say you shouldn't give it a shot. I know there are a lot of people out there who will find it rather good and get enjoyment out of it like I did, but the flaws and annoyances are a few too many that I feel most people would not be able to forgive them.
Which is a shame because it had so much potential to be an anime classic.
You can truly feel the passion behind it.
Osamu Dezaki was a fan of Moby Dick, and it took him 30 years to make this anime happen.
So the passion was there, but it's really the last line of the last question of the interview that proves this to me.
The truth is, the fact that I was able to bring the show to a proper close may represent the happiest moment of my life as an anime creator thus far.
Now, this doesn't excuse the show of its faults, but it does make me appreciate it all the more, and I really don't think it should be as forgotten as it is. So, anyways, I get a sudden urge to go fishing, so until next time, have a good life.